Hindus are facing an existential threat in their ancestral homeland in Bangladesh. It was a prosperous land once ruled by King Shashanka, who was named after the moon god. These Hindus have never invaded other people, however, they have been subjected to many invasion and brutal persecution, and as such, their numbers have dwindled significantly, comprising a mere 8% of the community today. Their land have been stolen not only by those savage invaders but also by the judiciary in the so-called independent Bangladesh. The Vested Property Act is an example of how these Hindus have been betrayed by their state even after being subjected to a targeted genocide in 1971 when nearly 2.4 million Hindus were brutally massacred within a span of only 9 months. Out of a total of 3 million victims, a staggering 80% were the Hindus. They were called scum and vermin by the head of the Pakistani military. However, what is even more disturbing is that when these Hindus needed protection, they were then hunted down door to door by their neighbors, the same people that they grew up with, who acted as collaborators, helping the army hunting them down. As they were rounded up in a school field, for instance, these so-called neighbors would tie up the hands of the Hindus before they were burst fired by the army. As their bodies fell to the ground writhing in pain, these poor Hindu victims were then doused in kerosene and burnt. Later on, the same neighbors would loot these Hindu families while raping their women and their orphaned sons and daughters, some of whom probably used to call them uncles. Babies were bayoneted, men were bludgeoned to death, women and children were brutally raped, their bodies mutilated, even the poor cows in the temple premises were burned alive. That was the level of hatred Hindus had to face, and when they tried to flee this persecution, they were then gunned down in thousands. In one case, this number went up to as high as 12,000. Unprepared and unarmed, Hindus were the soft target of an unspeakable depravity, only amplified by sadistic cruelty and religious bigotry, and this genocide was covered up by calling it a war of independence. Ever since, Hindus have faced many episodes of brutal persecution, notably in 1990 to 1992, 2001, 2013 and 14 and 2021. It only takes a rumor to spread that someone made a blasphemous comment on social media. A mob would then be conveniently gathered and someone will be lynched. This is the fate of the Hindus and other minorities in so-called secular Bangladesh today that the world must not turn a blind eye to.